What up, everyone? DJ Nubis with you here on the Metal Town Radio podcast doing another movie review. This time I just got out from seeing John Wick 4 and I wanted to break it down while it was all fresh in my head. And I've been a big fan of this franchise now through the first three movies they have and now with the fourth. And there's a lot to unpack with the fourth one. Basically, the director is Chad Stahelski. Cast is amazing, by the way. It's Keanu Reeves, of course, Lawrence Fishburne, Ian McShane, Clancy Brown, Bill Skarsgård, Donnie Yen, and Hayayuki Sanada. Just an amazing cast. In fact, when it comes to Bill Skarsgård, this is probably the best performance I've seen him in so far in his career, and he's done a lot of things. So kudos to him for his work in this. Basically, here in this plot for number 4, John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table. Before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes. So basically, what's happening now is John has taken it upon himself to start knocking off elders of the High Table. He's just continuing on with his rampage and his revenge, but it all comes at a cost for certain things. As the plot mentions, he's got a lot of friends now coming after him. Even in the first film, when William Dafoe's character, who was a friend of his, was supposed to come kill him, but didn't do that. Not so much this time around, at least with one of his friends. Sorta. It goes back and forth. So Donnie Yen, of course, his character is one that is sent to kill John Wick, and they're old friends and whatnot. And anyway, John kills an elder at the beginning of the film. I'm not going to give away too many spoilers here. I'm going to avoid a lot of that, but kills an elder. So the High Table takes one of their members, which is Bill Skarsgård's character, Vincent, and puts him in charge of arranging and killing John Wick. So now Vincent has all the power that the High Table will give him, the influence and the means to go about to accomplish this. He can do pretty much whatever he wants as long as he's following the rules. That plays a big part in this film as usual. So Vincent, we see early on, he's confronting both Winston, played by Ian McShane, as well as Sharon by Lance Reddick, who just passed away recently, sadly. And Vincent's like, you know what? Your failure to kill John Wick means we're going to destroy the Continental. We're stripping you of your management title, and you'll be a nobody. And so they do that. There is some other things that go on. I'm not going to reveal here, but basically destroy the Continental. Then they make their way, this group with Vincent and they call him the Marquis, with his group of henchmen. They make their way to Osaka at another Continental there that's run by another old friend of John Wick's, played by Sanada, who isn't as easy to give up John Wick as other people in the film. And there's also this friendship between Sanada, John Wick's character, or the character of John Wick, and of course Donnie Yen's character. Now, Donnie Yen, is his character, despite being a blind assassin, he's sort of being blackmailed into chasing down Wick. That's kind of how this shit works with the High Table. They just kind of squeeze at certain points, and they get you to do what they want you to do. And that's sort of what's happening here. But you can see a difference between how Donnie Yen's character approaches this and Sonata's character approaches this. And so Sanada has his own daughter who is running the front desk of the Osaka Continental, and she becomes a big part of this, especially towards the end. Clancy Brown, he's sort of like this. I don't even know how you would call it. He represents the High Table, but he doesn't really get involved too much. He just comes, tells you what's going to happen. You got to meet with so and so, so he's just kind of like the boogeyman in a way. He doesn't kill anybody, but he comes there and he's the man you don't want to see, really, because he's always representing the High Table. So Uh, the film has a lot of action that we're used to, a lot of great choreography. I felt like earlier in the film, the first fight at the Osaka Continental, like that one to me, kind of that fight scene kind of went on a little bit too long. I thought it was a little bit too long. Uh, some of it was pretty cool, but some of it just kind of got redundant and stupid. One thing about this film too is I noticed a lot of the characters, whether it's henchmen or John Wick himself, their their suits they wear have some sort of Kevlar and like armor plating in them. So you see a lot of this firing at each other and it's bouncing off and whatnot. And it's weird because there's some other soldiers that show up for the marquee, and they've kind of got like the whole like I don't know what you would call them really the shogun faces a little bit. Uh, so you would think with all that metal armor it'd be harder to kill them, but we find that it's really not that impossible. They can still do headshots with these guys. So I don't know. That part kind of didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I kind of thought that was kind of a cheesy thing there. They probably should have been a little more immortal at that point for me, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, so there's this big, long, drawn out fight at the Continental in Osaka, and things happen, and it sets up for stuff. And I'll tell you now, if you're going to see this in the theaters or streaming or whatever, wait till the very end of the credits. Like there is a post credit scene, but it's all the way at the end, and it's not very long. But once you've seen the movie, it will make sense. You'll know exactly what it's all about. Um. So yeah. So Sonata's character is basically looking out for John Wick here to get him out of there, and it's a lot of bloodshed and crazy shit going on. And as usual, the Marquis is putting a bounty on Wick's head, so the other assassins or killers that are out there, the bounty's like up at 20 million at one point, even gets as high as 40 towards the end of the film, and it gets really nuts. Now, there's a point towards the end, like the last 20 or so minutes, I didn't expect, and it was really cool to see, but again, I don't know how to feel about it because it's not original, but it's such a nice nod to an old film called The Warriors. Um, so you've got your DJ, who, if you remember from any of the Wick films, you have like these women that are taking calls and they're putting up the bounties on chalkboards and stuff. So they also have a DJ. Now I don't know. I didn't research who the DJ is. I didn't know if it would be the same chick from the Warriors or not, but she operates her DJ, her mic and her radio frequency because they broadcast to radios. And she talks exactly like, "Hey, boppers, somebody's trying to make it to the church." And of course, these criminal elements are listening in, and it's the whole like warrior type theme about it, how it goes about doing that. So I thought that was a really cool thing. Um, it caught me off guard, didn't expect it. There's even at the very end fight, it almost had like a good, bad, and ugly vibe about it. It wasn't totally like that, but it sort of felt like they were kind of throwing a nod to that as well. It was really weird. Uh, but it was a lot of fun. Now, when I compare this film to the first three, I don't like it quite as much for a number of reasons. Now, one, uh, I didn't think the fights overall were as good or choreographed as good as the first three films. Like there were just better things in that film. Now, Donnie Yen was outstanding. His fight scenes were very good, and same with Sonata's. Um, I mean, Wick's being Wick, of course, but it didn't really feel as authentic, or I don't even want to say authentic, but just didn't feel as great as the first three films. I did enjoy this, don't get me wrong. Uh, but something was lacking there for me. And I don't know if it was because that one fight scene took so long to kind of end or whatever, but Yeah, so it isn't quite as good, but if we're gonna compare something, say like the Bourne Identity series, so the first three Bourne films are fucking amazing, but the fourth one sucked ass. Of course, that one had Jeremy Renner, and it was kind of like a spin off of what was going on from the first three. But even the fifth Bourne film, which had Damon come back, was not near as good as the first three. At least with John Wick 4, it's still consistent enough and good enough to outdo any of those last two Bourne films, if I'm going to compare it to anything. Um, yeah, so I mean, just overall, the acting was really good. I liked the setup. I liked the way they went about things. Of course, you had these hidden rules that come out at some point and are exposed, and Wick takes advantage of this in a lot of ways. The ending's gonna leave you wondering about things, and I'm not talking the post-credit scene so much as I am just the very ending of the film. Um, but a part of me says that this is gonna go on this series. It may not, but I just have a feeling it will in some way, shape, or form. And yeah, just gonna have to kind of wait to see how that goes and how it plays out. But it was a pretty good film. I enjoyed it. Um, just not quite as good as the first three. Like the first three films, I give automatic tens to. This one, I give like a nine, and it's still good, but it's just not as good as the films before that. And it's sort of disappointing because of how good the cast is. Like everybody acted well in this. I had no issues with that. Ian McShane's become one of my favorite actors, mainly because I'd seen him in Deadwood. I thought he was fucking fantastic in that series. Um, but yeah, rest in peace, Lance Reddick. Great actor, and his role in these films were great as well. Uh, yeah, so that's basically it. I mean, I don't want to give a whole lot away. It just came out today here in Maryland, so obviously people are going to go see it around the world, and I don't want to give too much away here. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and get out there and see it. It's a good film, and just keeps a lot of the fun there. It's good popcorn fun. So be sure to tune in tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. My Godzilla Bash kicks off. We're doing a live chat, live ranking of the 33 live action Godzilla films on our own list. So each of our lists between me and the other panels will be different, I'm sure. We'll give reasons why. I expect this on the surface, this live event to take 3 or 4 hours at least. It's a lot of films to go through. I don't expect us to drag it out, but I do expect it to be a little lengthy. So if you're not doing anything, you just want to kick back and check it out, please join us. You got questions, you got comments, you want to flame us, roast us, whatever, roast me as the birthday boy, feel free. But yeah, John Wick 4, definitely worth the watch. It was a lot of fun. And thank you all for tuning in, checking out this review, and I'll see you later.